There we are. Hey, buddy.
Got it.
All right. No issue.
Yeah, I got my times crossed up, but like I said, I thought I was still about 50 minutes out. So.
Oh yeah, it happens all the time. It happens all the time, especially when you're like doing things internationally like this. It's so easy to mess up the time zones, man. So we do that.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and get us started here. I'm Mason from HedgePay. With me, I have Matt from TrueDefi. He's got a new project he's going to tell us about that I'm looking forward to hearing about. And so why don't we go ahead and get started? Matt, tell us a little bit about yourself, bud.
Well, I got into crypto about back in 2017. Just kind of dabbling in the big boy, tokens and coins and stuff. Got into DeFi in 2021. That's when, I kind of found my calling as far as I'm concerned, because I love DeFi. I love what DeFi is about. I love where it's going, what it's going to be in the future. I got into SafeMoon when it, come out. That was my first big hit. And then had a pretty good run there, pretty much all of 2021. Started digging in Solidity. After, we created a Rebel Traders AMA group. Me and four of my, friends, and we decided to make a token, so I started digging Solidity then. I was like, well, I'll see if I can figure it out. I mean, I'm a computer programmer and a, PLC guy. So anyway, so I started dabbling in Solidity, and we made a token there. It's still running today. And, my biggest deal was seeing the issues that, smart contracts had that, to me shouldn't. So that's something that I wanted to, see if I could fix. And that's where TrueDefi came from.
Can you give me an idea of like what you mean by the issues with smart contracts, like an example?
Yeah, well, the dreaded swap liquefy is the main thing. Everybody hates the swap liquefy. We even stated in the contracts when we were writing it, hate to break the swap. So it's one of them things. The swap liquefy, it was a necessary evil, of course, at the time. That's the way it was set up. That's the way it paid out the rewards. It's the way it took care of the taxes, marketing, and all that stuff.
Right.
So it's what everybody knew. And so what did? We tried to familiar ourselves with it. We tried to put bots in the channels. Hey, if you see this string of sales, or if you see this big sale, it's the contract. Don't worry about it. It's just paying the rewards, just paying the taxes.
Right.
Everything we could do to make it better. Let's put it that way. But the point is why do we even have it? What was the reason? Which of course, I found out why, because it wasn't exactly easy figuring out how to get away from it. So, I understand why I was there. Yeah. So like I said, the swap liquefy is the main thing, and then of course you got your bots at launch. Bots kill projects. They swoop in, they grab the main part of the supply at the first launch. Then all it is a sell-a-thon from then on out till they're done. Then you got the contracts that are being built here lately that go in and buy multiple wallets, and instantly kill them. So it's a combination of stuff that hurts projects that are just trying to do something good. There's a lot of projects that are really trying to do something good and come up with something good that that can't even get off the ground because of the issues of bots and of stuff like
the
that.
environment.
Exactly. You got your impatientness of BSE. Nobody wants to wait longer than a couple hours.
True,
stuff like that. And so that's all stuff that that it's always bothered me and made me want to help create to fix. Now, of course, I can't fix the mindset. You can't. All you can do is put it out there and hope that it gets better. But if you make the utilities and you push them out there, and they know you're safe, they know you're a good team, they know that you're willing to help any project in whatever means necessary. That eventually it'll stick. Eventually they'll understand. Okay, this guy's really trying to do it. He's coming up with top-notch stuff. This is where I need to invest. This is where I need to put my money.
Right. Yeah.
The biggest thing about TrueDefi is we're completely breaking the game. Normally everybody's PooCoin, PCS. Well, I want to trade on that. And I'm like, why? That's taking everything. It's I don't know. It's what everybody's used to, and nobody can break that cycle.
It's a familiarity issue. I think you're right. I think it's a familiarity issue.
Yeah. So that's the biggest thing with TrueDefi. We don't trade on PancakeSwap.
Wow.
Our LP is on PancakeSwap, but there's no trading allowed on PancakeSwap. So and I didn't have to do that, but I knew with TrueDefi that it was a big enough change as it was going to be. Just trying to get to understand it as it was. So I didn't want to go that extra step yet to put it on a brand new DEX or anything like that, because I knew safety was going to be the biggest thing for somebody, and if they were, if they were going to take a leap and actually buy, the project that I've created, then they needed to have at least a little safety blanket with it, I felt. So that's why I went with, going ahead and leaving it on PCS. But I've actually disabled trading to it. So my technology uses what I call a swapper. It's a smart contract, kind of runs parallel with the regular contract, mirrors it, does its taxes. So that smart contract, whenever you go to buy, you can send BNB directly to it, or you can get on our DApp and buy through it. But when you send the BNB, of course, it strips the tax before the buy in BNB.
It's the routing mechanism. Yeah, we do the same thing.
Exactly. So it immediately splits it and sends it out to the project while it's right then. There's no storing of tokens, there's no storing of LP, there's no storing of BNB. So it's all automatically. So our contract doesn't sell on itself at all, at no point in time. Does not collect tokens. Does not.
I love that. And and just for people that aren't familiar with the swap and liquefy, I'm familiar with it, but we don't have it implemented in our project because not a big fan of it. Like you said, it's an issue, So that's why we have two options. We do the ability to trade on PancakeSwap, and we have the routing mechanism on our own dashboard. But the swap and liquefy, do you want to just explain that for people that don't understand real quick?
Oh yeah, for sure. So your swap liquefy, whenever you're buying a DeFi token or a tax token, that token, whenever it's went out and bought, it pulls a tax in tokens and stores them in the contract. Depending on how they're set up now, of course, some devs decide to sell every token when a sale hits. Some devs have a set swap function as far as a amount of tokens. That's how I always set them up before. Had an amount that it would sell, and always kept that amount low. But it would store these tokens, And then the first sale comes along, it immediately swaps that amount of tokens for the native chain. We're in BNB, so swapping back for BNB. Then it split it up and going out to your project wallets, your distributor if it's a reward contract, all that. So the swap liquefy, like I said, was a necessary function. That's the way it worked.
Yeah.
So, and it's not a bad thing, but one of the biggest things is on launch. If you had an extreme buy pressure at launch, the contract fills up with a lot of storage of tokens that it's collecting for the swap liquefy. So that's where you get your massive run up, on the buy pressure. And then the first sale that happens, it gets front run by a contract sale. The swap liquefy is going to front run the sale. It's going to sell the tokens. And then, of course, the price impact is going to drop that down. And the person that sold gets the next layer. Well, now the contract's still full because it's done collected 5 or 6 swap liquefies worth because he had a big run up. So every sell after that, it's going to front run, it's going to sell, it's going to keep going. So that swap liquefy is going to take your price way back down.
Yeah,
right?
So it's a constant sell pressure that exists on the contract essentially. So as far as it could go up, because you have all this buying pressure initially, it keeps dropping the value of the token because you need that income in order to fund the project. That's the whole purpose of tokenomics, whether it's for rewards or whether it's for development or whatever it is that you want to use those taxes for. It constantly has this sell pressure, which is a problem, which is why we did the routing mechanism while you're doing the routing mechanism, only you're taking it a step further and you're disabling the trading on PancakeSwap, which I think is very unique. I haven't heard of a lot of people doing that before. I mean, this is actually the first time I've heard of it. Not to say that it doesn't exist, but
as far as I know, it's the first one that is completely contract sellless, to where we don't allow PCS at all. I mean, we don't even have a swap liquefy function in the token contract itself. We don't have taxes in the contract itself. So a lot of people's like, oh well, what about if you want to go on a centralized exchange or you want to go somewhere else? Then we can. There's nothing limiting that. We have the ability. Another one I asked, well, can you be rewarded? Can somebody else, buy your token and reward it since that you don't trade through PCS? Yes, we do have a whitelist function. We can allow other tokens to purchase through PCS. But if we allow them, and it's, of course, if it's a contract buying and not planning on selling. So there's a lot of things that's not, changed. It's not, it's not a big adjustment if people just understand. Our DApp is very easy to use. It's very smooth. It's very, friendly. You feel like you're still on PancakeSwap other than the color change. We try to make it as comfortable as possible. But still accomplish what we wanted. Right. And of course, with you already knowing the sales, whenever you go to sell a token of the swap liquefy, normally it pulls that tax in tokens and then sells the rest. Let's say it's a 10% tax. You got 1,000 tokens. What happens when you sell? The contract keeps the 10%. It takes the 900 if it's 1,000 tokens, and it goes out and it sells those tokens, right? BNB comes back, it splits. That's how it works. Well, the way we do it, of course, is instead of selling the 10% or keeping the 10%, we sell all but the LP amount. So let's say if it's a 3% LP or a 2% LP to make it easy for math. When the sale happens, it'll go out and it'll sell 99% of the tokens. It'll keep 1% back until the BNB comes back. And then it pairs that 1% with the BNB that's needed to pair and add to liquidity. And then it sends the rest of the tax, the other 0.8% that's left on a 10% tax token, sends it out to the project wallets, all in that same sale. So So a lot of people's like, oh, well, you're still selling. No, it's people selling. It's not contract selling. We're just getting rid of the overflow. And then, not only that, it makes for a healthier chart. So between the whole thing buying and selling, when somebody buys, normally it adds the price impact of the tax onto the chart, right? Yeah. So your chart goes up higher because of the price impact. So you get less tokens because you're stretching out over the tax rate, right?
Right.
Going through our setup, it's not buying with the tax. So it's only sending the amount it's needed for the buy. So you get more tokens on your buy. You get a better price, entry point because of it. And then you don't have that extra tokens that's already going to guarantee it's going to get sold on top of you at some point because they're not there.
Right, yeah.
So there's a bunch of different things. And the biggest thing is it's better for the project because they don't have to wait for funding. Every transaction, yeah, exactly. Every transaction, that project gets that tax. It's not weighted for anything. You're not having to wait for a swap liquefy. You're not having to wait for tokens to be sold later. So like I said, it's every transaction. And that, to me, that's a big thing. Because a lot of projects, especially in low volume, times, that swap liquefy is a killer for projects. So projects suffer because they have to wait for the funds. But then, most of them end up raising their swap liquefy so it doesn't happen when there's no volume. Because
right.
What do you might have a slight increase and everything's going good, and then boom, there's that swap liquefy. It's going to sell, and the project needs that. They need those tokens. They need that BNB.
Yeah. A necessary evil, like a necessary evil, like
exactly,
you said. Yeah,
exactly. So that's just to me, that's just something that needs to be fixed, and the space needs to adjust to it. They need to understand that this really is a better way. And if more projects do that, the better the space will be because of that, but now back to bots. Bots wreck, like we said, wreck projects.
They do, yeah.
And everybody, do you have bot measures? Do you have what is to keep bots out? No, they got ways to help it. There's always a way around it. If you call a function on the contract that a bot can pick up, they're going to wreck your project. They're going to find a way in. They're going to set their bot up unless you hide everything you have, right? If they can't read it, okay, they can't get into it. If they don't know how to call a function or to read a function from your contract because you've hidden it, great. You can eliminate your bots. But then nobody's going to buy it because they can't see nothing. They can't tell that you're right. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's a off, right? So the way that I do it, of course, our swapper technology is not verified. It's proprietary that we set up the way it works. So I'm sure y'all's the same way. You make sure that it is kept secret, right? But our token contract's not. The token contract's fully verified. You can see everything about it. But the way we launch with TrueDefi and other projects using it, we have 4 or 5 projects right now that's running TrueDefi swappers. So the way we launch it, the swapper contract, of course, we deploy it from an anonymous wallet. Nobody knows where it's at. It's not verified. So in our contract, we have one function that sets that wallet, right? Mm-hmm. And it's the way it works and the way it sets it and the way its call functions are. They don't know what it is, so they can't instantly pick up on it. So we've had 5 launches completely bot free. We've verified the first buyers, and we've had people jump in. Hey, I was the first buyer of this project. How is that possible? I've never been able to do that. Yeah.
It's because you avoided the bots.
It's because you avoided the bots. You didn't have to worry about buying the top of the candle, And like I said, and you can tell, if you go to the BSC scan and you see one of our launches and it's third or fourth block that human hit, it's a pretty good chance it's a human, because if it's a bot, they either really suck at botting or it took them a little bit longer, but it's guaranteed that it's on the same block. That's the best one I've seen so far in one of our launches. I think it's fourth block. That's that actual human hit, and that to me that's amazing that they can hit it that quick. But
it's almost unprecedented, Matt.
It is,
because it's sniper bots. That's their goal is to pick that stuff up and sell as soon as it comes up. So that's
exactly.
That's very impressive.
Yeah. So like I said, you can tell by the launches that we do with TrueDefi. You got, as long as you keep the BSC, people from being impatient selling that first candle, you can make for a beautiful chart. Our chart was beautiful when we launched. We did have a pre-sale. We had a seed sale. We had people that, they couldn't hold out more. Exactly. So
you're always going to run into that. So, I mean, Matt, like there's no way to, especially in BSC, to prevent, I feel like, people trying to make a profit on it. You know what I mean? It's just trying to balance that pressures, and you're going to hit lows after launches. That's absolutely normal, I think. And I think, especially if you're launching on BSC, which I think has, its pluses and its minuses. But I think, the environment around BSC is just so different. You have to really, really push hard to do a legitimate project on BSC, and you have to show people you're a legitimate project if you're going to be long term. And I think sounds like that's what you're doing.
Oh yeah, definitely. We've already built. Of course, we did our pre-sale on our own. We had our own pre-sale page, right on our DApp. We implemented a lottery page. You can go on. We actually, and I forgot to draw yesterday too. So I got a lottery. I got to draw, but it's a randomest draw we made. Just stuff like that to kind of help engage the community.
The community,
because that's the biggest thing is the community. They're going to spread the word. They're going to talk to their friends. They're going to be like, hey, this group's actually, they're doing real things. They're building out. They're putting the effort in. And we're in the midst of making it always cracks me up because it's like the BSC needs it, but we're creating a pre-sale page and kind of a launch pad, for TrueDefi. Of course it is a whitelisted setup. It won't be anybody can come make a token, or anybody can come launch or do a pre-sale. We'll pick and choose because that's a big thing about TrueDefi is any one of them that's using it. We want to know that they're legitimate and going to do legitimate things.
Right.
Projects fail all the time, and it's nothing nefarious. But then you have the ones that are nefarious. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to keep that from happening. So we're gonna pay close attention to the people we add TrueDefi with. We've had 2 or 3 degen plays that's launched lately, from other, devs that I know or other owners that I know that wanted to use TrueDefi. I originally said I wasn't going to do that, but I feel that's kind of a necessary evil to show what we can do with TrueDefi in the launches. But they were, of course, safe. A couple of them didn't last long. Couple of them are still going. It's kind of one of them things. But they knew ahead of time. It's a degen. If this kicks in, then great. If it don't, it don't. But it's ahead of time. But that, like I said, that was other devs that want to do it or other team members. So I was like, okay. So I've got one specific contract that I kind of got set up that has been launched 3 or 4 times just because I don't have to add or change nothing. I can give you this contract if you want to try it out and you can use it. It works well. But every one of our smart contract swappers is set up individually per the project. So Each one is directed for that token address only. It's not we're not running multiple tokens through the same swapper setup, just to keep it simple and to keep it safe. Everything's immutable for that token.
That's great.
Not saying we can't, we just don't at the current moment.
Right. But of course.
So it just gives them kind of a safety factor. And then of course we retain ownership of the contract right now, the swapper. So the projects that are running right now, if they need a change, we change it for them. That's something that we're going to change in the future. We already have an admin DApp basically set up, but right now
the projects where they can make their own like minor changes, right? Is that right?
If they want to adjust their taxes, however they want to do it, they can within limits. We put limits on everything, because even the safest doxed, devs, if the opportunity's there, something could happen. So, we put safeguards to keep that from happening. They can only raise the tax to this amount. They can only do, this, and that's to me, that's just being a good developer, putting in limits, used to, nobody did, max TXs, in the contract and go to 0 and, all kinds of stuff, there's no reason for none of that. If you make it as safe as you can and appealing as you can, then everybody else feels safer as well. So, but we're working on that, so the projects will be able to have it. But of course, like I said, the ones that are running it now, most of them I've built the contracts for. So they know that my stuff's safe and still running. So they're good with me holding on to them and adjusting them as they need, But like I said, we want to be able to give them that opportunity. We just hadn't been the top priority yet, because, like I said, they don't really care. They know they can message me and I can change it in a couple minutes to whatever they need. If they need to tax change, a lot of them running sales, get half off, the buy price for using it, because most of the projects they're pushing the swapper because it helps them so much, Right. So they're offering tax discounts. You can buy it a half off, buy price using the swapper, because we don't have to hurt the project by using it.
Right. So let me ask you real quick, because I know we're running out of time here, but I just want to know real quick. So these other contracts that you have for these people, they can use the DeFi, the TrueDefi swapper that you have built, right? But they don't necessarily have to disable trading on PancakeSwap the way your specific token contract has, correct?
Yeah, correct. No, they don't have to, disable PCS. As a matter of fact, they can't on a existing launch.
Okay.
Unless they, have some functions they shouldn't have in their contract anyway, in my opinion.
Right.
But,
right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think so. I think that's something that you've kind of like reserved for the TrueDefi token in and of itself, correct?
Well, no,
because you don't know who you're dealing with all the time, right? Even if it's somebody you can't guarantee that they're not going to choose to do something nefarious. Even people that you think you've built these relationships with, they can change their mind and decide to do something nefarious. So I think it's an intelligent call to definitely not allow them to disable it. But when you're looking at your own project and saying, look, this is the new platform that I've built, this is what we're doing, I think it's totally reasonable to be like, I'm not going to allow trading on PancakeSwap for this, because this is the platform that I'm doing, because I know I can control what I do, with my team, But has it become like my thought is like, because you retain control of the contracts like that, has it become kind of like the tokens that launch with you, is it like a lot of like overhead, a lot of work on your part to kind of have to manage the changes that they want to make, or do they not want to make a bunch of changes? Usually.
No, I mean, it's tax changes. It's not like I'm holding their token contract. They have their token contract. I'm just holding their swapper contract. So it's just tax changes. Yeah. So if they want to lower or change them, it's running a function. It's not like it's a big ordeal, or takes a lot of time or worry. So right now, and of course it's 4 or 5 projects, no big deal. and by the time we, really branch out and really start pulling the space in, we will have it set up to where they'll have their control. We'll be there in the background if needed, but they'll have their access and go to a admin DApp and, write the function just like as if they're, writing it on their contract to set their taxes, and it'll make it a lot easier and smoother for everybody. It also gives them a little bit more of a safety net too, having that control. So
it's a really good idea, Matt. I like it. And I like you've kind of almost started selling the routing mechanism to these other projects as well. And that kind of does that help fund your rewards as well?
Yeah. See, through our swappers, we have a 0.5% fee. So all transactions that run through those, there's a 0.5% that gets added to the tokenomics, basically. So most of the projects, they have reduced their tokenomics in an aspect to allow for that. So they'll take a little bit out of the market, a little bit out of the dev to allow it to where they can still offer lower taxes if all else. But that 0.5% comes back to TrueDefi from all the tokens that run the TrueDefi swapper. With whether it's buy and burns and that's all we've done is buy and burns. But like I said, yeah, we love buying and burning. So either way, it's kind of one of them things that when extra funds come back, we buy the token, we burn it, we get rid of it. Because our token itself is actually a currently inflationary token. We elected to go with an auto staking token. That way, the people that believe and wanted to be in, they get rewarded for that. Joining early. So, a lot of the auto staking tokens, they really kind of ruin the space when they come out. But, the dreaded rebase token, they gave the rebase a really bad name when it's actually a really good contract if it's used correctly. It lets you build up when you're building a project for long term and using it the right way. It works really well. So, we've got a auto staking that started off with a lower APY, not the billions of APY that these crazy tokens were offering. We started
because inflation will get out of control that way, right? So
exactly. So we started off at a 1,200% APY, and it linear drops over the course of the 600 days that we are actually running the auto staking. It's all hard coded. After the 600 days, it ends, and we become full net deflationary. So it's just over 20x of the supply. So we started with 1 million. If we didn't burn any, if we didn't burn any tokens or anything over the course of that time, it would end up at about 20.6 million. My math's right. There's a lot of math in that, but it's real close to that. So, and of course, every token we burn early is that many more that will never be seen on the total supply, because even the dead wallet's auto staking. So it's taking that supply too. And so you get the auto compound and build for being in early. Plus a little BUSD kickback in rewards as well. With our token,
we do something similar. Too. We our inflationary mechanism is for about 10 years so far. Is what it looks like. It's going to play out before our full supply is released, and then as time goes on, once that 10 years has passed, those staking mechanisms will change and end. And then we'll start moving towards deflationary and things like that. So people, so we have a similar plan. Ours is just like years, a decade in the future. So
Yep. So like I said,
600 days, I feel like is reasonable. Like 2 years, you have 2 years to get into a project, get some extra out of it, and then it ends. I think that's reasonable, completely reasonable. I think it's cool. It's a really good idea. And I hate to cut this off short because I'm really enjoying talking about this, but we should probably ask if somebody has questions, because we have another AMA in like 15 minutes. So let me see. Does anybody have any questions real quick that they would like to ask Matt here about his project, TrueDefi, which is really, really like very interesting. And I really think you've thought this through so well, Matt, like honestly. Like you've really thought about a lot of the aspects that really damage tokens, a lot of the aspects that can be, really inhibit the growth of things and hurt your chart. And you've kind of found a way to circumvent these things. And, everybody's going to go through ups and downs. You're always going to have ups, you're always going to have downs. But when you stay the course and you stay strong and you work on development during these bear markets, I mean, you're always going to come out on top, and it looks like that's what you're doing. So I'm like very impressed with this. So let me see if anybody has questions. I think we just got to have you raise your hand if you have a question. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking to Matt because I'm enjoying this conversation.
I got a question. Huh?
Okay.
Hello.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead,
Hello,
buddy.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, it's a nice AMA going on.
Thank you.
So, what's the buy and sell task? And the where can I buy the TrueDefi?
Yeah. You can buy TrueDefi two ways. You can go to our DApp itself and purchase it at app.truedefi.io, or you can go to our Telegram and you can type in swapper/swapper. It'll give you an address. That's our swapper address. You can send your BNB directly to that swapper address, and the tokens come automatically back to you. And that swapper address is two-way street. If you want to sell the tokens, you can sell them as well on the address without having to connect your wallet to anything. So you can stay completely disconnected. Just a little extra thing we do. But the app is the easiest and cleanest way. You can see your amount you're getting for your BNB. Of course, it's the pre-tax amount. You have to take the taxes off of that. But you'll find it very similar to PCS or anything. We use an auto slippage. That way you don't have to worry about none of that. Yeah, definitely. So run over to TrueDefi.io, and you can get set up.
And then the taxes?
What's the buy tax and sell tax?
Yep. Buy tax currently is 12%. Out of that 12%, 4% of that goes to LP. We are a auto staking inflationary token, so we have a lot that goes to LP to be able to sustain that. Another thing that most of the projects don't do. You got to sustain your LP, otherwise you're not going to make it. So 4% of that goes to LP. We got 4% going to marketing. 2% go to BUSD rewards on the buy, and then 2% goes to development. So that's the buy tax. Sell tax is 16. 6% of that goes to LP. 4% go to BUSD rewards. 4% to marketing. 2% to dev. And it's not dev as in my pay, even though it does help me with a little bit of pay. It is development. We've got our devs are in house. It's me and a partner of mine that do the work. We're not outsourcing. We're not having to pay contracted people to build what we're building. We're doing it in house. So that saves us from having to pay a lot. That's why we have a lower percentage, but it's enough to build the project, and that's what it's about. So it's 12 and 16. We do plan on lowering that in the future as needed. Eventually, we won't need a 10% of the total tax going to LP. We will be deflationary, and it will be so healthy and big at that point that we will have to do something. So we have room to lower the taxes. As of right now, we don't plan on it. But we also have a kind of a kickback method that you can get 4% of your volume back for buying. It's something that you'll find on our DApp as well. It tracks your buy volume, and the top buyer gets a 4% kickback on everything they bought. So
awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, George, for your question, buddy.
All right, thanks.
All right, I'll take one more question real quick before we jump off here because I gotta run to the bathroom before our next AMA because I drank too much coffee. All right, one last question. Anybody have a last question? Otherwise, I got one. Give someone a second here. All right, Matt. We are running short on time here. My last question for you, unless oh wait, we have somebody. SS, did you have a question? Okay, I guess not. All right, so with this project that you and your partner have been. Oh wait, am I just getting feedback from that person? I'm gonna have to mute you, SS, unless you got a question.
Yeah, I think George is also getting you.
Oh, okay, sorry, buddy. I really think that this is a very interesting project, Matt. I'm really glad you got the chance to sit and talk with us. This is really well thought out. I'm really into it. I'd like to talk again about it in the future because this is really, I feel like it's just such a short period of time to really discuss the workings of this and the mechanics that you've really, delved into this. Any roadmaps that you want to mention real quick before we close out? Anything that you have coming in the future? Any utilities that you're working on that you haven't quite released yet?
Yeah, like I said, we will be rolling out that launchpad setup, and we do have some stuff in there to help with people getting botted on that as well. No direct sending, stuff like that. But that's something we're about done with. We don't really like to put out stuff that we're building until it's ready, as far as talk about it, because we're not trying to be a pump and dump token. We're not trying to build up hype. We want people to buy because they see what we're doing and the utility that we're doing. So I'll give you a little thing that we're working on. At some point, which I'm not a big NFT guy unless they actually are beneficial, have a utility.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, without utility, I can't stand them. So yeah, please.
Exactly. So we will have a small, very limited NFT run that could help with your taxes automatically for buying and selling, as well as a kickback for the people that are holding the tokens that are automatically when they're bought and sold. So it's something that helps the project, and it's automatic. It's not waiting for somebody to send you a reward or something like that. So if you hold that NFT, it'll be checked whenever you run through our swapper program or through our swapper, and it'll know which one you got and what your taxes should be set up at. So, it'll be something a little fun, but also have a benefit. You take this token in 12 to 16 months from now, that NFT could be very valuable, being able to get a discount on selling. So stuff like that. But we hadn't really brought that out to public, but I like to give little teasers to the ones that we're doing. But we already know we can do it. We've already got it set up. We actually already did the swapper upgrade for it. We just ain't released it yet. But we don't talk about something unless we're ready for it.
I like it.
And I think
it's a good philosophy.
More projects. Yeah. So, like I said, we want to benefit the people that's already here and not the ones that swing in because of an announcement, buy the news, sell the whatever, I don't like all that stuff. I want people to be in here for what we're doing and not to try and catch a pump that's coming because we're releasing a new utility.
I want people riding waves. Yeah, I hear you.
But we do have a lot coming. It's endless. We have the ability to build anything, and we're doing so. So, a lot to come.
Awesome. Looking forward to it, man. I can't wait to hear more about it. It's I definitely would like to have a chat again about this in the future because this is a really interesting project, and I'm glad that you came and talked with us. Anything else you'd like to say real quick before I close this out?
Not really. Like I said, just really look at the team. I'm not asking you to come by I want you to dig in. Look who we are. Look at the people in the space. If you can't talk to your team and know your team, you probably shouldn't be investing in them because, they should be there for you. You're investing in their project. Yeah. You're investing in what I'm concerned is their company. They're trying to build something with your help by your investments. You should be able to talk to them, So that when I invest in something, that's what I look for. Now I ain't gonna say I don't throw a DGen here and there because they're fun, But I'm not long term in the DGen. So
right.
When it's a utility project that's really trying to be creative and innovate the space, those are the projects you put money in that you can leave. Don't try to throw all your eggs into one thing and hope that you can flip it for 2x in a day. Put in what you can leave and let it work for you. That's what we instill, and that's what we were instilling when we were in Rebel Traders as well.
I want to encourage that as well because that's a really important aspect. Is like you're selling, your work essentially, and it's such a great space because with DeFi you get to have your work set up and you can start working on a project and you can be like, hey, you guys can be a part of this project. You can be there, and you can make money off of it. And it's great because they're investing in these people, which I think is excellent. I think is absolutely excellent. So, all right. And that was great, man. I really enjoyed talking with you. This was a lot of fun. I can't wait to hear more about your project in the future. And thanks for sitting and talking with us, man. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate it, man. Anytime. Like I said, I enjoyed the conversation. Like I said, I enjoy what you're doing. So, like I said, it's a good deal.
Yeah, it is. All right, buddy. I'll talk soon, okay?
All right, man.
All right. Thanks, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.